Good morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. I want to start with a question. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, putting in the effort, staying patient, believing, and yet nothing seems to be happening? You look around and it feels like everyone else is getting their breakthrough, their blessings, their moment, but you're still waiting. See, we live in a world where we want things instantly. We want results now, success now, answers now. But what if I told you that the best things in life don't happen on our schedule, they happen on God's schedule? What if the delay isn't a denial, but a preparation? Today I want to share something powerful with you. God will bless you, but in His own way. And when He does, it will be greater, deeper, and more meaningful than anything you could have imagined. But the real question is, are you willing to trust the process? God's timing is perfect. Yet as human beings, we often struggle with this truth. We live in a world of instant gratification where waiting feels like suffering. We expect prayers to be answered immediately, blessings to appear overnight, and breakthroughs to happen on our schedule. When they don't, we begin to doubt, we question, and sometimes we even lose faith. But what if the waiting isn't punishment? What if the delay isn't denial? What if it's preparation? Think about the seasons of life. Nature teaches us that everything has a time. You cannot rush a flower to bloom. You cannot force the sun to rise before its time. Everything happens in alignment with a greater order. When a seed is planted in the soil, it doesn't immediately sprout. There is an unseen process beneath the surface where the roots grow deep before the plant breaks through the ground. The same principle applies to the blessings God has in store for you. Sometimes we pray for things we are not yet ready to receive. We ask for success, but we haven't yet built the character to sustain it. We ask for love, but we haven't healed from our past wounds. We ask for opportunities, but we haven't developed the discipline to manage them. God sees what we cannot see. He knows the weight of the blessings He has planned for us, and He will not give us something that will break us instead of bless us. When we rush ahead of God's timing, we often end up with temporary solutions that fall apart. We see this in relationships where people force connections that aren't meant to be. We see it in careers where people chase after positions they aren't prepared for. We see it in finances where people try to shortcut their way to wealth, only to lose everything. The truth is, when something comes prematurely, it often lacks the foundation to last. Look at some of the greatest figures in history and in faith. Many of them had to wait before they stepped into their purpose. David was anointed king, but he had to go through years of trials before he sat on the throne. So Joseph had dreams of greatness, but he had to endure betrayal, slavery, and prison before he saw his vision come to pass. Even Jesus spent years in preparation before beginning his ministry. Their stories remind us that delay is not a sign of abandonment, it's a sign of divine alignment. In the waiting season, God is not withholding blessings from you, He is preparing you for them. The waiting season is a training ground. It's where patience is built. It's where faith is tested. It's where endurance is developed. It's in the waiting that you learn to trust, to let go of your own timeline, and to align with God's. When things don't happen as quickly as we want them to, frustration sets in. We start asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Why am I still struggling? Why do others seem to be moving forward while I feel stuck? These are natural questions, but they come from a limited perspective. We see only a small piece of the puzzle, but God sees the entire picture. What feels like stagnation is often divine positioning. God is moving things behind the scenes, setting up the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances so that when your blessing arrives, it will not only be right, it will be perfect. There are moments in life where doors will remain closed no matter how hard you push. That's not because you aren't good enough, strong enough, or deserving enough. It's because the right door at the wrong time is still the wrong door. And when God finally opens it, you will step into it with clarity, strength, and wisdom that you wouldn't have had if it had opened earlier. Many times, we are so focused on what hasn't happened yet that we fail to see what God is already doing. The lessons you're learning, the strength you're developing, the resilience you're building, these are all part of the process. Every delay is an opportunity to grow deeper in faith, to refine your character, and to prepare for what's coming. When we shift our mindset from frustration to faith, we begin to understand that waiting is not wasting, it is working. It is shaping us into the kind of people who won't just receive blessings, but will be able to carry them with grace and gratitude. It is teaching us patience, humility, and dependence on God rather than our own strength. It is preparing us to handle the magnitude of what is to come. We may not always understand why things don't happen when we expect them to, but faith means trusting that God's plan is greater than our own. His ways are higher, His vision is clearer, and His love for us is beyond our comprehension. And when the time is right, His blessing will come. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late, but exactly when it is meant to. Each person's journey in life is uniquely designed, shaped by experiences, challenges, and moments that no one else can fully understand. It is easy to look at someone else's life and wonder why their path seems smoother, why their success came faster, or why their blessings seem bigger. But the truth is, comparison blinds us to the fact that what God has for each of us is tailor-made. No two people are meant to have the exact same story, and no two blessings will ever look alike. There is a reason why some doors open for one person and remain closed for another. There is a reason why some people achieve success early in life while others see it much later. There is a reason why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly while others have to fight for every inch of progress. It is not about fairness or luck. It is about divine design. God knows what each person needs, and He knows when and how to provide it. What is meant for you will never miss you, but it will also never look exactly like what was meant for someone else. Sometimes people struggle to embrace their unique journey because they feel pressure to fit into a certain timeline. Society has a way of making people believe that if they haven't achieved certain milestones by a specific age, they are falling behind. If they are not married by a certain time, if they do not have financial success by a particular age, if they have not accomplished certain goals, then they must be doing something wrong. But the reality is that no one is truly behind. Everyone is simply moving according to their own divine timing, and when the moment is right, everything will come together exactly as it is meant to. God's blessings come in ways that are aligned with who we are and what we are meant to become. Some people are called to walk a path that requires them to endure more challenges because their purpose demands a greater level of strength. Some are given smaller responsibilities at first because they need time to develop the discipline and wisdom to handle bigger blessings. Some people's journeys require deep seasons of isolation, not because they are forgotten, but because they are being shaped into someone who will lead, inspire, or transform the lives of others. It is difficult to trust this process when all you can see are the things you lack. When life feels stagnant, it is easy to believe that God has overlooked you, but nothing is being withheld from you. What belongs to you is simply being prepared in a way that ensures it lasts. A rushed blessing often fades quickly, but a blessing that is properly timed and uniquely designed will remain. A major reason why people feel disappointed with their journey is because they are looking at it through the wrong lens. Instead of seeing how far they have come, they focus on how far they still have to go. Instead of recognizing the lessons they have learned, they focus on what they don't have yet. Instead of appreciating the doors that have closed, they mourn opportunities that were never meant for them. This mindset makes it difficult to see the beauty in their own path. Every experience, every detour, and every challenge is part of a larger picture that will make sense in time. God does not give everyone the same journey because not everyone is meant to arrive at the same destination. Some people will be called to walk a path that others will never understand. Some will be given challenges that seem unfair, only to later realize that those very challenges were the key to their greatest blessings. Some will experience rejection after rejection, only to find that they were being redirected to something far greater than they originally wanted. This is why trusting the process is essential. You may not understand why certain things happen, but faith allows you to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. It is also important to understand that your blessings are not meant to be measured by the world's standard. Some people believe that blessings only come in the form of wealth, success, or status. But sometimes the greatest blessings are the ones that cannot be seen. Peace of mind is a blessing. Strength in adversity is a blessing. The The ability to rise after failure is a blessing. Growth, wisdom, and resilience are blessings that prepare you for what is ahead. Too often, people spend their lives chasing things that were never meant for them, believing that if they could just have what someone else has, they would finally be happy. But true fulfillment comes when you accept that what God has for you is not only different, but perfectly suited for you. Your blessings are being crafted in a way that aligns with your purpose, your destiny, and your unique place in this world. You do not need to compare, compete, or rush, because what is yours will always find its way to you. Faith is often misunderstood as passive waiting, as if simply being patient will bring everything into place. But true faith is more than just patience. It is trust. It is the ability to believe in something even when there is no evidence that it is happening. It is the courage to keep going even when there is no visible sign that things are changing. Faith does not mean waiting idly for something to happen. It means walking forward with confidence even when the path ahead is unclear. Many people struggle with faith because they tie it to their circumstances. When things are going well, faith is easy. When doors are opening, when prayers are being answered, when life feels full of blessings, it is simple to believe that God is in control. But when things are difficult, when prayers seem unanswered, when progress feels slow or even non-existent, faith is tested. This is the point where many people begin to doubt, to question, and to wonder if God has forgotten them. But faith is not just for the good times. It is meant to sustain people in the seasons of uncertainty, in the moments of struggle, and in the times when nothing makes sense. There's a difference between patience and trust. Patience is the ability to wait, but trust is the ability to believe that what you are waiting for is coming. Trust means not only accepting the delay, but believing that there is a purpose behind it. It means knowing that even when things are not happening the way you expected, God is still working. The problem is that most people are willing to wait, but they struggle to trust. They ask for something and wait for it, but the longer it takes, the more their faith weakens. They start looking for signs, for proof, for confirmation that things are moving, and when they don't see it, they assume that nothing is happening. But trust means believing that things are working even when there is no sign at all. Trusting God's plan means understanding that just because you don't see progress doesn't mean there isn't any. Just because something hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it isn't on its way. Farmers do not dig up their crops every day to check if they are growing. They plant, they water, they nurture, and they trust the process. They understand that growth is happening beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. Life works the same way. What you are praying for, working for, believing for, it is growing beneath the surface, even if you cannot see it yet. The challenge is that human nature craves control. People want to know the details, the timeline, and the outcome before they commit to trusting. But faith does not work that way. Faith requires letting go of the need to control and replacing it with confidence in God's timing and plan. It requires stepping into the unknown, making moves even when there is no confirmation, and believing that what is meant for you will not miss you. Doubt often creeps in when things take longer than expected. When someone has been working towards something for years without results, it is tempting to believe that it will never happen. When prayers have been lifted repeatedly without answers, it is easy to assume that they are being ignored. But faith requires the mindset that just because something hasn't happened yet does not mean it won't happen at all. It is a belief that there is a reason for the delay, that preparation is taking place, and that when the time is right, everything will align exactly as it should. Trusting in faith also means surrendering personal expectations. Many people struggle because they have a specific picture of how their blessings should look. They expect success to come a certain way, relationships to unfold in a particular manner, and opportunities to arrive exactly when they want them. But often God's plans are different from human expectations. What people think they need may not be what is actually best for them. What they think is the right path may not be the one that leads to their true purpose. Faith means being open to the possibility that things may unfold differently than expected, but still believing that whatever happens will be for the best. There will always be moments where faith feels difficult, There will be times when doubt whispers louder than belief, when waiting feels unbearable, and when the temptation to give up becomes overwhelming. But these are the moments when faith matters the most. It is easy to believe when everything is going well, but real faith is built in the struggle. It is strengthened in the moments when nothing makes sense, when everything seems still, and when the only choice is to trust that something greater is coming. Faith without trust is fragile. It wavers with circumstances and crumbles under pressure. But faith that is rooted in trust is unshakable. It allows people to keep moving forward, even when there is no visible sign of progress. It gives them the strength to hold on, to keep believing, and to stay the course, knowing that what is meant for them is already set in motion. Challenges are often seen as obstacles, roadblocks that stand in the way of progress and blessings. Many people assume that if they are facing hardships, it must mean that something is wrong, that they are being punished, or that they are on the wrong path. But what if challenges are not meant to stop you, but to shape you? What if the very things you are struggling with are actually part of the blessing that is being prepared for you? When people pray for strength, they are not simply given strength, they are given challenges that require them to develop it. When they pray for wisdom, they are not handed wisdom on a silver platter, they are placed in situations where they have to make difficult choices. When they pray for patience, they are not instantly made more patient. They are placed in circumstances that test their ability to wait and trust. And the very things people often try to avoid are the things that prepare them for the blessings they have been asking for. There is a reason why successful people, strong people, and wise people have all been through trials. There is no growth without resistance, no strength without struggle, and no wisdom without lessons learned. It is easy to want the reward without the process, but the process is what makes the reward meaningful. Without the challenges that come before the blessing, people would not be ready to handle what they receive. Look at anyone who has achieved something great and you will see a story of struggle. The greatest leaders, innovators, and individuals who have changed the world did not reach their position without hardship. They faced setbacks, failures, losses, and moments of doubt. But instead of seeing those moments as reasons to quit, they saw them as part of the journey. The same is true for everyone. The difficulties faced today are not signs of failure. They are signs that growth is happening, that something is being built, and that the blessing ahead is too great to be handed over without preparation. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that blessings will come in a way that is easy and comfortable. But blessings are not always wrapped in convenience. Sometimes they come disguised as struggles that force people to grow beyond their comfort zones. A closed door may feel like a rejection, but it could be a redirection to something better. A delay may feel like an obstacle, but it could be protection from something that is not meant for you. A hardship may feel unfair, but it could be the very thing that builds the resilience you will need in the future. The way people respond to challenges determines what happens next. Some people see difficulty as a reason to stop trying, to give up, to assume that things are not meant to be. Others see difficulty as proof that they are on the right track, that they are being tested, refined, and strengthened. The difference is not in the challenges themselves, but in the mindset toward them. When someone understands that struggle is part of the journey, they no longer resist it. They embrace it, knowing that every challenge carries a lesson, and every lesson brings them closer to their purpose. Fear often comes into play when people face challenges. The fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of making mistakes. But fear is simply a barrier that tests commitment. If every difficulty made people turn back, no one would ever achieve anything significant. The key is to keep moving, even when fear is present, even when things do not make sense, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Strength is not built in comfort, it is built in discomfort, in moments where everything seems to be falling apart, but determination remains. Challenges also reveal who people truly are. It is easy to be confident when everything is going well, but true character is revealed in struggle. It shows who is willing to keep going when others would quit. It separates those who are truly committed to their goals from those who only want the reward without the work. When people overcome obstacles, they do not just move closer to their blessings, they become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling what is coming. The process of overcoming challenges prepares people for greater responsibility. The more someone endures, the more they can handle. Many people want success, but few are willing to go through what it takes to earn it. Many people want to be great, but few are willing to endure the struggles that come with greatness. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove readiness, to refine skills, and to develop the mindset needed to sustain long-term success. When people shift their perspective and begin to see challenges as part of the blessing rather than a barrier to it, everything changes. Instead of being discouraged by difficulties, they start to see them as signs that something greater is coming. Instead of feeling stuck, they start to recognize that every hardship is a stepping stone leading to a destination that is bigger than they imagined. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Many people struggle with waiting. In a world that moves fast, where instant gratification is the norm, patience feels like a burden. People want answers now, breakthroughs now, blessings now. When things don't happen on their timeline, frustration sets in. They start questioning whether they are doing something wrong, whether they are being overlooked, or whether they will ever receive what they have been hoping for. But what if the waiting season is not a punishment, but a preparation? What if the delay is not denial, but a process designed to make sure that when the blessing arrives, it is truly meant to last? There is a difference between getting something and being ready for it. A person can be given a great opportunity, but if they are not mentally, emotionally, or spiritually prepared, they will not be able to handle it. A business can be launched too soon and fail because the foundation was not strong enough. A relationship can come at the wrong time and fall apart because the personal growth needed to sustain it had not yet happened. Timing matters, and God's timing is not based on human impatience. It is based on what is best. It is easy to see waiting as wasted time, but waiting is never wasted when it is used to grow. Every season of waiting is an opportunity to develop the skills, the mindset, and the strength that will be needed for what is coming. Some blessings require maturity. Some require resilience. Some require wisdom that only comes through experience. If something is truly meant to be great, it cannot be rushed. It must be developed in a way that allows it to stand the test of time. A seed does not become a tree overnight. There is a process. First it is planted. Then it is buried beneath the soil, in darkness, where nothing seems to be happening, but beneath the surface, growth is taking place. Roots are forming, the foundation is being established. And only when it is strong enough does the plant break through the ground and begin to rise. People often want the breakthrough without the root system. They want the results without the process. But anything that grows too fast without a strong foundation is at risk of collapsing. The challenge is that waiting requires trust. Trust that what is meant to happen will happen at the right time. Trust that even though nothing seems to be changing, things are being set in motion behind the scenes. Trust that delays are not denials but divine redirections. It is easy to trust when things are moving forward, but real faith is tested in the moments when everything seems still. That is when people must decide whether they will remain patient or whether they will try to force something that is not yet ready. Trying to force things before their time often leads to frustration. When people try to rush into opportunities, they end up unprepared. When they try to manipulate outcomes, they end up feeling exhausted. When they push for things to happen before their season, they often realize too late that they were not truly ready. But when they learn to trust the process, they begin to understand that waiting is not about inaction, it is about preparation. It is about using the time wisely, developing discipline, sharpening skills, and becoming the person who is capable of handling what they are asking for. Patience is not passive, it is active. It is continuing to work, continuing to grow, continuing to believe, even when there is no visible progress. It is trusting that what is meant to be yours is already set in place, and when the time is right, it will come together in a way that no amount of rushing could have achieved. It is having faith that there is a reason for the delay and that something better is being prepared. Many times, what people think they are ready for is actually much bigger than they realize. If they were given everything they asked for at the moment they asked for it, they might not be able to sustain it. If success without preparation leads to stress, growth without process leads to instability. But when things happen in the right time, they flow naturally. There is no struggle to hold on to them. There is no fear of losing them. They are built to last. It is also important to remember that waiting does not mean doing nothing. It means using the season wisely. It means growing spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It means refining skills, deepening relationships, and becoming the best version of oneself. It means learning patience, learning resilience, and learning to trust that just because something has not happened yet does not mean it will not happen at all. God's timing is never wrong. It may not align with personal expectations, but it aligns with what is ultimately best. When something is truly meant for a person, it will come in a way that is undeniable. It will not have to be forced. It will not cause unnecessary stress or confusion. It will fit into their life in a way that makes sense, and they will realize that every moment of waiting was worth it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful mindsets a person can have. It shifts perspective, changes attitudes, and opens the heart to see the blessings that are already present. Too often, people focus on what they don't have, on what hasn't happened yet, on the prayers that haven't been answered in the way they expected. But when the focus is constantly on what is missing, it becomes easy to overlook what is already there. Gratitude is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It is about choosing to see the good, even in the midst of difficulties. Many people believe they will be grateful when their situation improves, when they get the job, when they find the right relationship, when they reach their goals. But gratitude is not a result of success, it is a foundation for it. Those who learn to appreciate what they have, no matter how small, create an energy that attracts more blessings. When someone constantly focuses on what they lack, they create a mindset of scarcity, which leads to frustration and discouragement. But when they practice gratitude, they create a mindset of abundance, which opens the door for even greater things. It is easy to take things for granted. The ability to wake up in the morning, to breathe, to have a roof over one's head, to have food to eat. These are all things that many people do not think about until they are taken away. There are blessings in every single day, but the question is whether they are being noticed. It is not happiness that brings gratitude. It is gratitude that brings happiness. When people start seeing the beauty in the little things, they begin to feel more content, more at peace, and more open to the blessings that are already present in their lives. Gratitude also changes how people face challenges. Life will always have difficulties, setbacks, and moments of struggle. But in every challenge, there is something to be learned, something to be gained. Instead of focusing on what is going wrong, gratitude shifts the focus to what can be learned from the situation. Every difficulty carries a lesson, every setback carries a new opportunity, and every closed door makes way for a better one to open. When people approach life with a grateful heart, they begin to see struggles as stepping stones rather than obstacles. It is also important to express gratitude, not just feel it. Telling people how much they are appreciated, acknowledging the good in others, and taking the time to thank those who have made a difference creates stronger relationships and deeper connections. People often assume that others know how much they appreciate them, but unspoken gratitude does not have the same impact as spoken appreciation. A simple thank you can make someone's day. A small act of appreciation can create a ripple effect that spreads positivity. Gratitude is not about settling or being complacent. Some people fear that if they are too grateful for what they have, they will lose their drive to achieve more. But true gratitude does not mean giving up on goals. It means appreciating the journey while working toward them. It is possible to be thankful for what is while still striving for what can be. A person can be grateful for their current job while still working toward a promotion. They can be thankful for their progress while still pushing themselves to grow. Gratitude and ambition are not opposites. They work together. One of the greatest tests of gratitude is how a person responds when things don't go as planned. It is easy to be thankful when life is good, when everything is falling into place, when doors are opening. But real gratitude is tested in the waiting seasons, in the struggles, in the moments when prayers seem unanswered. It is in those moments that a person has a choice: to focus on what is missing or to trust that there is a bigger picture, one that cannot yet be seen. The people who choose gratitude in those moments develop resilience, faith, and a sense of peace that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Gratitude is also a form of trust. It is the belief that even when things do not make sense, there is still something good to hold on to. It is knowing that even when life feels uncertain, blessings are still present. It is choosing to focus on what is right instead of being consumed by what is wrong. This kind of gratitude does not come naturally. It must be practiced. It must be cultivated daily, intentionally. There are many ways to practice gratitude. Keeping a journal, writing down 3 things to be grateful for each day, and making it a habit to express appreciation to others are simple but powerful ways to shift focus. Taking a moment every morning to acknowledge the gift of another day, pausing before a meal to appreciate the food, and recognizing even small moments of joy throughout the day can create a mindset that sees blessings everywhere. When gratitude becomes a way of life, everything changes. The things that once seemed small become significant. The struggles that once felt unbearable become opportunities for growth. The moments that once went unnoticed become reminders of how much there is to appreciate. A grateful heart sees the good, expects the best, and trusts that even greater things are on the way.